Canada is still trapped in a bubble of unemployment. Layoffs have been a big deal for Canadian workers lately, mainly because of the threat of a possible recession. For instance, Bell is trimming 1,300 jobs, which is about 3% of its workforce, because its income is going down. LinkedIn is also reducing its staff by 716 people to make its operations more efficient. Shopify is selling its delivery business and letting go of around 2,700 employees, which is about 20% of its staff. Many other companies like Morgan Stanley and Nordstrom are doing the same. And it's not just the tech and finance sectors. Even construction lost 18,000 jobs last month. This is the biggest job crisis ever in Canada, and sadly, it doesn't seem like it's going to end anytime soon. In today's video, we'll look into why there's so much unemployment and what it means for the people. We'll also talk about why, even though Canada added 64,000 new jobs last month in various other sectors, the unemployment rate is still really high. At the beginning of this month, there was a brief moment of relief when Statistics Canada shared some data, which I'll now share with you. In September, Canada saw an increase of 64,000 jobs, indicating a healthy job market. But before you jump to conclusions and think it contradicts what we've been discussing, hear me out. Out of these newly generated jobs, approximately 66,000 belong to the education sector. It's worth noting that the previous month experienced a decline of 44,000 education jobs, likely due to the seasonal nature of school-related employment when students return to classes. A similar trend emerged in the transportation and warehousing industry, which saw an addition of 19,000 jobs. This could be attributed to resolving issues like the BC port strike, signifying a return to normal operations rather than substantial job growth. However, there was a decrease of 20,000 jobs in the finance sector, and the construction sector lost 18,000 jobs. Meanwhile, self-employment, which often surprises everyone, saw an uptick of 26,000 individuals across various fields. For the third consecutive month, the unemployment rate remained unchanged at 5.5%. Wages continued to rise at a rate of 5%. But despite Statistics Canada's projections of job additions, the rate doesn't appear to be growing. And at the core of the underlying factors behind unemployment in Canada, you'll find the answer. The first reason behind the job market crisis in Canada is the skyrocketing cost of living. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck, the prices of things like oil, natural gas, and lumber took a nosedive. With lockdowns in place, Canadians couldn't dine out or travel, so everyone shifted from buying services to goods all of a sudden. However, the pandemic also disrupted crucial parts of the global supply chain, like factories and ports. This led to a situation where the supply couldn't keep up with the surge in demand for goods, causing prices to shoot up. As economies reopened, the prices of these goods shot up again. Since these goods are used in the production of many other things we buy, it had a ripple effect on prices across the board. And if that wasn't enough, Russia's invasion of Ukraine further increasing prices, and Canada wasn't spared either. Global oil prices went up, and quite naturally, this pushed the food prices up. For instance, Canada's annual inflation rate in August jumped to 4% from 3.3% in July on higher gasoline prices. To combat this inflation, the Bank of Canada raised interest rates, and now the prime rate in Canada stands at a hefty 7.2%. This means more slowing down of economic activity, leading to massive job losses. But inflation didn't stop there. It crept into other areas, and it's now part of the Canadian housing crisis, pushing construction workers into a nightmarish world of financial schemes gone wrong. With fewer homes being sold, steep interest rates for construction loans, and rising costs for construction materials and labor due to inflation, housing developers and builders are feeling the heat when it comes to making their projects financially viable. Prices for essential construction materials like cement, ready-mix concrete, blocks, and bricks have all shot through the roof. In addition, labor expenses in the construction industry surged by a whopping 9.4% in 2022 alone, as more projects competed for the same limited pool of workers. To highlight the losses in July, British Columbia took the lead by shedding 21,000 construction jobs, followed by Quebec, which saw a decline of 11,000, and Ontario, where 9,000 workers were handed pink slips. And in September, another 18,000 faced the same fate. It's an absolute nightmare for them. But there's a viewpoint suggesting the job losses in various sectors, including technology, finance, and notably the construction industry, can be attributed to demographic factors. The aging population in Canada is having a big impact on the job scene, and it's not a pleasant story. With Canada's population now topping 40 million, mostly due to high immigration levels, it's crucial to understand how these demographic changes affect employment. Statistics Canada tells us that there's been a significant increase in the number of working-age people aged 15 and older, with an 82,000 bump in September alone. Canada has has also launched an ambitious plan to welcome around 1.45 million immigrants in the next 3 years, many of them coming through economic programs. Interestingly, new immigrants are now more likely to have jobs than Canadians born here. This is happening because the employment rate for newcomers has been going up since 2016, while the employment rate for native Canadians has been slowly declining. To figure out how an aging population is causing job losses, we need to look at the demographics of these two groups. New immigrants, who are often between 25 and 54 years old, are carefully chosen based on their skills, making them great additions to the Canadian workforce. On the other hand, because of the aging population, many retirees are leaving the workforce every year. In fact, this is why Canada needs immigrants so badly. One result of this demographic difference is that in some sectors and areas, Canadians might not have the skills needed for well-paying jobs. This is where immigrants come in. They're filling roles like accountants, software designers, and AI experts, often earning better salaries in the process. Moreover, Canada's workforce is growing faster than employers can create jobs. But this is just the beginning, because the negative impacts of unemployment on the Canadian economy are about to break lives and tear apart the fabric of Canadian communities. First and foremost, there's the cruel blow of financial hardship. With no job, income vanishes, leaving individuals and families struggling to make ends meet. The specter of poverty looms large, and for some, it leads to the heart-wrenching plight of homelessness. Even affording necessities becomes an impossible feat. But it doesn't stop there. The mental and emotional toll of job loss is nothing short of devastating. Anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, and a deep sense of hopelessness creep in. The weight of unemployment strains relationships and mercilessly erodes mental health. At present, 1 in 5 people in Canada faces a mental toll. The toll on physical well-being is equally alarming. Many without jobs find themselves without access to essential health care. Their once stable employer-sponsored insurance now a distant memory. The stress of unemployment takes a toll on the body, leading to a myriad of health issues. And over time, there's a concerning decline in overall health. As the dominoes fall, the impact ripples out to our broader economy. Reduced consumer spending will soon become the norm in Canada, setting off a chain reaction that stifles local businesses and economic growth. When wallets are empty, belts tighten, and everyone feels the pinch. The isolation that accompanies job loss is a silent killer of the spirit. People withdraw from social activities and networks, drowning in embarrassment or the inability to participate due to financial constraints. Similarly, if the poison of unemployment isn't controlled in time, skills, once sharp, might grow rusty with each passing day. The longer the struggle, the harder it becomes to re-enter the workforce with outdated or deteriorated skills. It's a cruel irony that makes securing future employment an uphill battle. The government, too, feels the weight of this crisis. Resources must be funneled into unemployment benefits and social programs, straining public finances at a time when they're needed most. The underutilization of human potential is a loss that we all suffer. When talented individuals remain unemployed or underemployed, their skills and contributions to society remain untapped. It's a waste of human capital and productivity, a tragedy in its own right. Finally, there's the ominous specter of social unrest in the domestic Canadian landscape. High levels of unemployment might breed dissatisfaction with the government and the economic system. It's a tinderbox that can lead to increased crime rates and unrest in communities already on the edge. The common man in Canada faces a nightmare, a relentless storm of negative consequences brought on by unemployment. Their lives hang in the balance, and it's a grim reality that demands action. Unfortunately, for the average Canadian citizen, unemployment could become worse in the coming months. To learn more about that, check out this video covering Canada's recession. And if this video brought value to you, please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching.